Recently joined the Southwestern Vermont Council on Aging as the internship and mentorship coordinator, and I'm thrilled to be here.
Awesome, thank you so much. Do we have any new guests with us today? Anyone like to make an introduction? Looks like we got one more.
Yes, good morning. My name is Jonna. What do you want me to do?
And tell us what you're about. Tell us why you're here.
So I'm an intern with Rutland County Health Partners. I work on myself, assisting other people to get Medicaid through a very challenging system that they are now enforcing other so it's twice a month trainings that were just enforced on yesterday, which would be August 7th. The next one will be August 21st, Wednesday mornings between 9 a.m. and 10 a.m., and it is very, very well needed. So,
Thank you so much.
Hi, I'm Jen Rose Brittenham. I'm the new family liaison for Wonder Feet Kids Museum.
Lovely to meet you. Welcome. All right, any other hands, any introductions? All right, I think on that note, thank you to everyone who is new today. We're going to go ahead and we're going to move right into the Chief's remarks.
Thanks, Kiana. So it seems like it's been a minute since you've had an update from the police department, but if you look around there, I'm the only one here today. Everyone's kind of busy. Over a period of months, we talked about our community resource specialist jobs, and we did fill that just recently, our third position just recently. So we've got 3 community resource specialists now. They're staying really busy, spending a lot of time at different addresses, really trying to bring some stability to someone's home and to the neighborhoods, really. And so they've had some real success with a lot of things that they've been doing. So that unit falls under Commander Prouty. Sergeant Williams is the sergeant in that unit, and so he has those 3 CRSs, but he also has our animal control officer, and he has our school resource officer and our downtown beat officer. Our animal control officer, you saw here pretty regularly, was Tim Jones. He retired at the end of June, and so we advertised that position internally. We had some interest internally, and so that created an opening in our dispatch center. So we'll be transitioning Noah Sweeney, one of our dispatchers, to animal control once we identify that dispatcher to be hired and get trained. In the meantime, Noah will be spending time with Sergeant Williams doing some animal control things, responding to some of our more serious animal control issues, and then going, and he's already had some experience in the short time he's been there, appearing before the Animal Control Board on various issues. So it's trial by fire. So he's doing well. But Sergeant Williams, I'm sure, can't wait to really get him up and running, and we can't wait to get a new dispatcher trained so we can transition Noah out. So that's what's been happening in the community response team unit under Commander Prouty. In terms of the sworn officers, again, we're always recruiting, always hiring, and we graduated 2 from the academy. It graduated at the end of May, and we hired 2 to go into the academy, which started this past Monday. We actually hired them prior to the academy to sort of get them acclimated to what they might experience when they're at the academy, and one decided it wasn't for him, so he tendered his resignation. So we do have one at the academy right now. And he's actually been with us since March. We sent him to a level 2 basic 2-week class, started his field training. So we're pretty confident that he'll do well at the academy. So we'll look forward to having him graduate in around November and finish up his field training program, and he'll become a full service officer for us. As I said, though, we are constantly looking to hire. We had met with someone this week from Wisconsin who's interested in coming to Vermont. So he's a prospect that I think might turn out well. So always looking. So if you're interested, someone, send them our way. Other than that, like I said, we've been busy in the neighborhoods, either with our community resource specialists or with our sworn officers, depending on the nature of what's creating chaos in the neighborhood. So appreciate your support. Thank you. Yes. Mhm.
Can you
Yeah,
repeat the
so
question?
once our, you know, as I said, right now, his full-time job is still as a dispatcher. He is spending time with Sergeant Williams. Sergeant Williams is doing a lot of the animal control work, unfortunately, and our patrol officers are responding to the animal control complaints that we get, and we do get quite a few. You know, for a period of time, we had quite the not juvenile dogs, but juvenile kids were keeping us real busy, and this past month, we had more animal control complaints than juvenile problems. So, Jason has his hands full right now, spending as much time as he can with Noah. That once Noah gets out, kind of on his own, and that is his sole responsibility to pay attention to the animal control issues. I think he'll be. Yes, Ken.
Just for any folks with questions, please wait for the microphone to circulate. Otherwise, PEG TV cannot hear you, and it sounds like Chief is talking to himself. So.
Sorry. I think Adam had a question too.
I just wonder, Chief, is there a path for high school as far as folks that might be interested in law enforcement that we have locally here in Rutland County?
So there was a period of time where we had a cadet program, and because, so it's been, years ago, it was fairly active. Over the past 6 years, it's been not so active. Our hope is to be able to reinstitute that program again, but right now, in terms of the department, we don't have that cadet program up and running. Stafford does have has a good program, criminal justice program. We had a number of individuals we have hired that have gone through that program at Stafford. So right now, that's for high school students in Rutland anyway who are at Stafford. That's a real opportunity.
Chief, as always, I just want to say thank you to your CRS staff, Officer Williams and Julie and Sequoia, as well as Taylor. They interact with a lot of our residential people, and they are a godsend for some of our cases that we've had in the past. So thank you for their team and being out there for our veterans as well.
Well, thank you for your partnership in addressing some of these issues. Really with the CRSs, and that was the idea with the CRSs, where they have the luxury of spending a lot of time with individuals that really need the assistance and need the sort of the help navigating through the various services that are out there. Our police officers tend to respond to a call and they're on to the next one. A more serious call that comes in, they're on to the next one. But with the CRSs, they do have, and that was by design, create the position where they really got the time to spend to bring some stability to that household and to the neighborhoods. And Dan's been a big part of the response too, so appreciate Dan hiding in the back there. Man of not too many words, but big presence, so thanks, Dan. Thanks, Ken.
And now I'd like to introduce Mayor Dunn just for his remarks.
I think we should just start knowing we're always the same order in the agenda, so we don't. Hi, I'm Mayor Mike Dunn, just for those of you who don't know me. Couple of quick updates from me. One, since last meeting, I don't know if you've seen the announcement, but Chris Loris and Megan Novak are now paid for by the state, thank you, state of Vermont, assigned to helping us with our homeless transition plans for Rutland City. Actually, we're going beyond borders a little bit, which is great. We're going to be working with Rutland Town and surrounding communities, even potentially Mendon now with the fact that there may be some of the voucher program residents up there as well. So Chris and Megan will be focused on that. They'll probably be reaching out to some of your organizations, so stay tuned. They'd love to make contact with you. We had a good conversation with Commander Prouty yesterday about the resources that are needed in Rutland now and into the future. So we've got a lot of planning to do, a lot of work with what's ahead, and we're really hoping to hopefully hear back shortly on some of the grant opportunities at the state as well. Any questions on that? Awesome. So I want to talk about something a little bit off topic from what I normally do. Fun question. Does anybody know what a local hazard mitigation plan is? Yeah, no, neither did I. Oh, we got two. Okay, cool. So what you're seeing throughout the state of Vermont now with the weather changes is a lot of municipalities that have had some major flooding issues. In Rutland, I gotta say, over the last 2 or 3 years, we've been very, very lucky. I mean, we've had our share in the past with Irene and the Noricane, but we've been in a really good state over the past few years when it comes to different floods when the rest of the state's suffering, so like St. Johnsbury right now. Even today, our DPW, PD, and fire teams are all preparing for what may happen this weekend. Looks like the weather may turn, we should be okay. However, a local hazard mitigation plan is something that specifically allows us to look at all of our infrastructure and evaluate what we may need to change to be prepared for future local hazards. So we don't necessarily plan for earthquakes or forest fires in Vermont. We don't tend to have those major issues, but flooding and other major storms are things that we need to think about. So we gather all of our data, we put it together, we gather feedback from the community as to what areas may need being addressed. And then when we come out with this plan, what the plan does is it actually allows us to do a couple different things. It allows us to apply for grants that we wouldn't otherwise be eligible to apply for. It allows us that if there is a major incident, when we get reimbursed by FEMA, we get an extra 10% back. So we, instead of having to pay for 20% of the repairs and the federal government paying for 80%, we actually get we only have to pay for 10, the federal government pays for 90. There's a couple other benefits to it as well. Right now, we have begun our process to build that local hazard mitigation plan. It's something that Rutland has needed for probably 35 years. There's been different reasons that we haven't done it in the past. It was one of my priorities to get that in place because for the past 2 or 3 years, we've been seeing messages from the state of Vermont. Hey, there's $14 million available for flood hazard mitigation, or there's $20 million available for flood hazard mitigation. And those funds have gone untouched throughout most of the state. And the main reason is in order to get access to those monies, you need to have these plans in places. So right now, there's $90 million available for flood hazard mitigation from the federal government in the state of Vermont. And because we have started this process, we are actually eligible. They opened it up if you're in process for these grants. So the reason I am sharing all of this information with you today is over the next few months, we're going to be gathering community feedback. What we need to know is where there are hazards, right? Or where there are potential hazards. So I will be sending out to the mailing list, to the listserv, a link. And I would love it if you could share that link amongst your groups and fill out the surveys yourselves. We would love as much feedback as possible to try to gather the information that we don't know. Now, luckily, in a small community like Rutland, we know a lot of where these issues are already. But in certain circumstances, there's always something we don't know about. Like you may see, the stream in your backyard fill right up to the brim, and we never see that because it never overflows. Things like that. So just be on the lookout for that. If you wouldn't mind sharing that, that would be fantastic. And as much information as we can get back, the better, because then we can put a better plan in place. Any questions?
Mike, quick one. So as far as to what level of micro we're looking at, are we looking at a neighborhood or a specific road where everyone's basement floods?
Sure.
To that level of
Yeah, it's to that level. It's absolutely that level. Because what might be that's a great question. What may be a flooded basement in, hey, me and my 2 neighbors, we see our basement flood every time there's a major storm. Well, when these, massive storms come in, that may end up floating your house off the foundation type of thing, and we need to know where those issues are. So, questions? Comments?
I was just wondering about
Yep.
a timeline for when that survey might come out.
So it's going to be in 3 stages. The survey's already available, so probably I'll get it sent out by the end of the week to you. And then we're going to do a couple different rounds. So this is very initial preliminary gathering data, and then we'll kind of come back around for those areas that we need more detail on and dig deeper on that. So.
My question is about the quality of water and how that impacts what's going on with the flooding and how you might infer that, coupling that with complementing our city with better water.
Sure, fantastic. So our water system its primary source is the Mendon Brook. So we have, over the last 100 or so years, purchased up a lot of what is called the Rutland City Forest. It's basically a lot of the land that kind of feeds into the Mendon Brook, and we've done a good job of protecting that water source. When we talk about flooding in the city, it doesn't necessarily affect our water system unless we get a broken pipe underground in those situations, or if a road gets washed out and we have to replace the pipe. You're not going to see a degradation of city water quality in those instances like you would in other municipalities where the water source is a little bit more local. So our reservoir is actually up in Rutland Town by Northwood Pool. We're tucked back away, and from that point all the way to the faucet in your sink or in your house, it's all protected in piping and in plumbing at that point. So where instances of potential effect are is like when we saw Irene come through. Irene did some major damage to the Mendon Brook, really caused some problems, actually cleaned up a lot of things for us in the water system, which was kind of cool. But we had to take from our secondary water source at that point. So this plan will absolutely address those sources and will be a huge consideration into how we structure the safety protocols that go into the water system, which will help. If you're referencing what you're seeing with our current water system right now with the high haloacetic acids, which is worth talking about, HAA 5s, we talked about this a couple times, and you're going to continue to see it in your water bills until those come down. We're at a limit where we have to notify about it. When you look at where the United States is for HAA 5s, and I don't mean to get super technical here, so bear with me for a second, but we are at about 64 parts per billion. In most other countries, they don't start notifying till 80 parts per billion. If you spend time swimming in a pool, you're exposed to more haloacetic acids in that pool than you will be in a year's worth of drinking water in Rutland at a regular rate. So we're not at a point where it's a health issue at the moment. If we don't fix the problem for the next 10 years, it's a health issue, but at the moment we're okay. We have actually started to see those numbers come down. How we remediate that moving forward is a different plan than this, and we're already working with the state on that. So it's a good question, and I did want to address it, but we are working with the state currently to reduce those haloacetic acids in our water system, and you should actually see a positive impact in the short term from that, but really we look at quarter over quarter. We want to make sure it's sustainable. So over the next year or so, we'll actually have a plan in place and then a system to address that as we go forward. Other questions? Awesome. Sorry to go super technical today, but that's where we're at. So, thank you very much.
Wonderful. And usually at this point, we would go into the Vision Center update with Commander Prouty, but unfortunately, he's unable to be with us today. He is otherwise occupied. So we're actually going to go ahead and move right into announcements. And our first person is Amy from VPR.
Hi, good afternoon. Thank you so much to Commander Prouty for inviting us here today. Amy Zielinski, I'm Senior Events Producer for Vermont Public, formerly known as VPR and Vermont PBS. We are planning an ice cream social and listening session for Friday, September 13th. It's going to be at the Center Street Marketplace Park, and we are just looking for help in, one, getting the word out to let folks know that we're going to be there, kind of have fun with free ice cream, but we're also going to be bringing our reporters there to talk to the community and find out what's important, how should we be centering our reporting when we're talking to elected officials in Rutland, or just in general, what's happening in the communities here. So we'd love to get as many folks to come to this event and talk to our reporters as possible. Also want to put out a call to organizations that would like to be there, have a table or a booth to then, again, interact with the folks that are going to be attending the event. So if anyone is interested in learning more about it, either to share out with your communities or be a part of the event, you can reach out to me. You can email events, EVENTS, at vermontpublic.org. I'd be happy to reply and give you more information. Also, just talk to me after the meeting today. Again, thanks for your time, and we look forward to spending some time in Rutland in the next month or so. Thanks.
Wonderful. And on that kind of train of event announcements, I'm very excited to say that Project Vision had a great table at the last Friday Night Live, but we are looking for volunteers for the next one and the one after that. So August 16th and September 6th, we are looking for folks to join the volunteer committee over at the Project Vision booth. Where it will be located during the event is kind of still up in the air, but please reach out to me or Adam if you are interested in joining us and hanging out with us for some live music. Do we have any other announcements from the group today? Looking around. Does not look like there are any other announcements. And on that note, we're going to go ahead and invite up Carissa from the Parent-Child Center for her presentation.
Good afternoon. I am super excited to be here, and I am a talker, so I'm going to try to be mindful of my 15 minutes. But I'm really, really excited to bring forth some of the things that Rutland County Parent-Child Center has coming up. I am the new co-executive director of the Parent-Child Center. I've been with the agency for 7 years, going on 8 years, in a number of different roles. I stepped up as co-executive director as a soft roll-in December and officially accepted the position in April. A co-executive director, what does that mean? So there's actually two of me. I have a counterpart, Stephanie. Stephanie oversees our childcare and our licensing, and I oversee all of our programming and our daily operations. So that's how we shift and split our duties. Stephanie is phenomenal in her role and is an expert. I am good in my role and also an expert, so we felt that this was the best way to serve the community. So I'm just going to give just a brief overview of the Parent-Child Center, what the Parent-Child Center is, and then I'm going to get into what we have coming up for programming and some of our newer stuff. So there are actually 15 parent-child centers in the state of Vermont. Every single county has their own parent-child center, and they are all embedded very differently into the communities that they're in. And they have different programming within those communities. So the idea behind each parent-child center is they provide what their community needs. So Rutland's community needs are very different than Lamoille's community needs. We have different populations that we serve, different financial needs, different economic statuses of the populations that we serve. So they are split very differently. Funding looks like one big funding stream that comes down from the state. It filters through each of the parent-child centers, and we really have to do the majority of the work that we do by finding grants and supporting grants. We currently, aside from the Alderman family, do not have any regular Rutland donors, so I'm just going to shoot that out there. So we are certainly looking for some community partners who have the financial wherewithal to be able to support some of the programming that we have upcoming. So the Rutland County Parent-Child Center actually has 4 different sites. We have 3 childcare sites, 2 in Rutland and 1 located in Brandon. It's located in the old Brandon Training School. It's the easiest way to describe it for those of us who are historians and can recall that space. We have a beautiful space in Brandon that serves roughly 50 children. Then we have 2 sites in Rutland, and our childcare does go 0 to preschool. So we've got a couple of brand new spaces in our 2-gen campus that we just opened, and then we have a preschool program on the same site, but in a different building over on Chaplin Ave in Rutland. If you are driving through Rutland City and you want to stop by our 2-gen campus, it is open during the day for visitors to come in. We have a beautiful space that I'm going to talk about in a few minutes, and there's lots of opportunity for a lot of the community partners I see here today to come and utilize this space. I'm going to talk a little bit about the 2-gen campus, what it is, and what we're trying to do. So something that the Parent-Child Center really embodies is what we call a 2-gen approach. It is a nationally recognized approach to serving families. We recognize that if we cannot reduce the stress barriers in parents, that we cannot reduce childhood neglect, we cannot reduce childhood abuse. The whole family's outcomes really are dependent on the adult caregivers in that home. So even though a lot of our programs we bill, right, and I use that term loosely because many of our programs are unfunded, we bill under the child, we also serve and support the mother, the father, the grandparent, the auntie who sleeps on the couch, the cousin who comes over 3 times a week to do their laundry. So we really prove to ensure that we are supporting the entire family because that's the only way that outcomes are viable. So every single program that we have, even if it's our early intervention program that focuses on childhood development, we are checking in with those parents, with that grandma, with that auntie. Hey, do you have food? Do you have transportation? What does your housing look like? Because if we can teach a child to walk through our program and that child doesn't have a safe, healthy environment to walk in, then what good are we really doing? So it's one of the things that we really ensure that we do. We provide a whole family approach to everyone in the household. Our new 2Gen campus, we just did a grand opening in June. We've been in the building since April. And so on site to really, solidify that 2Gen approach, we have case managers on site all day, every single day. There is a makeshift office and they sort of transition out. So I'm going to talk about a lot of different programming. Those case managers spend 1 day a week in that space. So if a family is showing up to pick up their child from childcare, but they just lost their job, or they got a flat tire on the way here, or they just realized that they only have spaghetti in their cupboards, there's a case manager on site at all times to help mitigate those barriers that the family is facing. It's really, really nice. We've sort of built these great relationships and rapport with a lot of the families that we serve. So it's a really nice way to ensure that we're really checking all of the boxes. We also provide home visits for all of our programming. Transportation is such a barrier in Vermont, and a lot of our families are rural and live outside of the Rutland City hub. And anyone who lives outside of Rutland City knows that the bus system does not run regularly, that there's often barriers in Medicaid transportation rides, and the list is long, right? Transportation is an issue. So we make sure that we provide home visits for all our families, and that includes our food pantry. So if we have a family that utilizes our grocery store style food pantry and for some reason they can't make it that week, we ensure that a case manager drops food off on their porch so that they have access to nutritious foods for the week. So our new 2Gen campus has some new stuff coming. I'm going to switch gears and talk about that a little bit. We've got some new community programming that's coming up. We have this gorgeous space. And there are so many community partners that do so many amazing things. Turning Point has tons of programming for our folks who are struggling with addiction. News Story has tons of programming for our individuals who are going through domestic violence. And why would we recreate the wheel and recreate programming for all of these things and sort of fight for funding when we can just open our doors and invite our community partners in? So we decided to do that. So we are partnering with Turning Point for an emotional support group that will kick off in the fall. We are so excited to have them on board. We're going to start the group right before school pickup so that families can come right before they pick up their kids to school from school and participate in the group. We are also going to be embarking on a DADS program that I'm going to try not to talk too long about, but I'm super pumped about it. There is nothing happening currently for dads in Rutland County. So we've decided to create a dads group for dads by dads. But we're actually going to expand a little bit more. And we've decided to really focus on a lot of our individuals who are somehow connected with the Department of Corrections. So we are starting a group called Inside Out Dads that will be inside the jail system 6 months prior to an individual's release. They will have the opportunity to join Inside Out Dads and learn some parenting skills for their reunification with their families. Once they're released on the outside, a case manager will work alongside their probation officer to ensure that we are providing holistic case management to each one of these fathers during their reunification process, as well as supporting them with employment, food support, educational opportunities, and anything else that we at the Parent Child Center have to offer. So we recognize that if we can really focus on fathers who tend to be in and out of systems, that we can have better outcomes with some of these children. So we're really excited to embark on this. There is another parent-child center in the state that's doing something similar. So we're sort of piggybacking off of the success that they're having. We've already been in communication with the Department of Corrections. We're really excited to kick it off. So we will start that in October as well. So I am really excited about that program. So in the 2Gen space, we will have parenting classes specifically for dads twice a week. We will have one in the morning right after school drop off, and then we will have one in the evening at 6 p.m., which we're hoping will be right around the time that dads are getting out of work. And again, it will be run by fathers. We have 4 amazing individual dads that work for us. Bodie, who runs our Gaining Ground program, he's been here a couple of times. He is a rock star and so passionate about what he does. We have Romar, who is another individual who's employed with us. John, who works in our food pantry. And then we have an outside individual, Tom, who will also be supporting us. What's great about all of these individuals is they are all different ages and all different cultural backgrounds. So it's really important to us that we are providing our families with the opportunity to connect with a peer that has similarities to them. So we wanted to ensure that all of our dads had different backgrounds. So I'm really excited about that. We have at our 2Gen campus innovative therapy spaces that were provided by the amazing Alderman family. We have state-of-the-art equipment in 2 rooms for children with developmental disabilities to utilize and have their therapy in these spaces. We also partner with Rutland Mental Health to utilize these spaces for some of their pediatric clients. So we're really excited about that. We also have, and I've sort of been, going this way with Project Vision, but we also have a gorgeous space that we are offering to the community. If you are a community partner of ours, the space is actually open free of cost. However, we do have multiple catering packages, and that is how we will bring in our revenue. So we are asking our community partners if you have the capacity to please purchase one of our catering options. However, we recognize that that's not accessible for every agency, and we don't want to limit the space to only folks who can pay for it. That would be really counterintuitive to who we are as an agency with a tagline that says removing barriers. So the space is free to use. It is actually booking very quickly. We already have the Rotary South utilizing it. Turning Point is utilizing it. Dick Corsell reached out about utilizing the space. So we're really excited. It's got a state-of-the-art kitchen. And we can accommodate up to about 80 folks comfortably in the space. It also has a projector, a podium, and AV equipment. So we have everything available for any of your meeting needs. Please come check us out, check out the space. We'd be happy to give you a tour. Let's see. Oh, we also just got a grant for ADA playground equipment. So we are going to be, yes, exactly. We are going to be one of the only child cares in Rutland City with ADA child equipment on our playgrounds. We're super, super excited. We've got a couple of things up now because we do have some individuals that we serve that have some severe disabilities. So we've got a couple of things that we just couldn't wait to sort of get up and going. But we've got lots more things coming. So if you work for an agency that serves this population, please spread the word that we've got ADA equipment coming. We're really excited. Okay, that's all I have on the 2Gen space right now. I'm gonna move into some of the programming that we offer that is sort of integrated both into the community as well as our 2Gen campus. And then I'll open up for any questions if there are any, if I can not talk that long. And I have packets for everyone, so I'm going to say a lot of words. Please don't feel like you have to remember any of these words. There's packets for everyone to take. So just some of the programming that we offer, I think sometimes people think parent-child center and they're like, oh yeah, you do childcare, right? Yes, but we do so much more, right? So we have a Children's Integrated Services program. We are the only one in Rutland County. All PCCs have this program within their centers. And in this program, we really focus on children ages 0 to 6 who have developmental disabilities. My case managers, they go out and they do a nationally recognized assessment. They identify what barriers this child has around their disabilities, and then we bring outside providers, PTs, OTs, SLPs, into that child's home to help mitigate that disability. And that is a program that is actually flourishing in Rutland. Rutland actually has one of the best CIS programs in the state. We also serve some of the largest numbers in the state. We are so close behind Burlington, even though they are really much larger than us. We have our early childhood education sites, which I already told you about. We have the pantry at RCPCC. This is a really, really, really great program. So the pantry is a grocery store style shopping experience that comes with case management. All of our appointments are private. You do not have to wait outside the door. You do not have to go through all of these hoops. We don't ask you what your income is. We don't ask you to see pieces of your mail. We just want to feed your children. So the only requirement to partake in this is that you have a child in your home. You also do not have to be the biological parent of that child. We recognize that there are many caregivers in the city, in the county, right, who take care of children that are not biologically theirs. So you come in, you take what you need. If you need 4 loaves of bread, you take 4 loaves of bread. If you need eggs, you take 6 packages of eggs. We do not limit what you can take. And we also partner with local farms to make sure that everything in that pantry is locally produced. So our vegetables, if they don't come from Price Chopper, right, depending on what's in season, then they come from locally sourced farms. We partner with Hubbard's, Morning Song Farms, Happy Valley Orchards, lots of great farms who support us. And if we get to a point where we've got excess vegetables, we don't throw them out, we actually give them back to the farms and they feed them to their pigs. So it's a nice cycle that we have going on. We also provide unlimited diapers and wipes out of this space, as well as menstruation products. So we recognize that there's actually a lot of women who are unable to access tampons, pads, and most importantly, education around their menstrual cycle. So we provide what we call period packs. You get chocolate, face mask, nail polish. It's different every single month. But inside of that, there's also some information, how do we care for ourselves hygienically during this time of the month? What do I do if my cramping feels out of control? Things that aren't taught in schools, that really aren't taught anywhere, we're trying to bring education around that. So we have this great Women's Corner. We partner with Planned Parenthood. They give us lots of great materials, and it's a way for folks to access those materials. Okay, the Learning Together program is our high school affiliate program. We support pregnant and parenting teens, but not just that, we support any teen who is at risk. So we have seen a decline in teen pregnancies, which is wonderful. But we have seen a rise in teens who are really struggling to make it through a traditional high school. So the Learning Together program is a program where they come into the classroom on our site, but they actually receive their diploma from their sending school. So if it's an Otter Valley student, then they receive an Otter Valley diploma. It's not a GED program. It is a high school diploma program. We're really proud of that program. We've got some great teachers in there. So please, feel free to stop by and check out the kids in the classroom. They're doing a lot of great stuff in the community. So I'm really excited to see that program thrive. Our Gaining Ground program is a program that we focus on employment. It is a 12-week program that runs, consistently throughout the year. Folks are paid to participate in this program. They come, they say, hey, I'm interested in being a police officer. And then the case manager who runs that goes to the police department and says, hey, can you come in and talk to my folks about becoming a police officer? So far we have employed 12 individuals and 4 individuals have started at CCV. So it's a really great program. The individual who runs it is a rock star. He really loves what he does. It's Bodie. I would talk a lot about Bodie. He's great. So that program is running. And again, we pay our participants to participate because we recognize their time is valuable. All of our programs also come with childcare and gas cards as needed. All right, I'm going. We have a parenting class. We have play groups all over the county, so please keep your eye out for those. We have a collaboration coming up with Wonder Feet. And that's really it. Oh, I just want to mention a couple other things. We are partnering with the Aldermans for a program called Feed the Freezer. It used to run through Brock, but is no longer running through them. So we've picked up that program. So we will work with volunteers, hint, hint, wink, wink, to come in and provide us with meals that we can then freeze and distribute through our pantry as well as to our homeless populations. And lastly, we have Empty Arms Vermont, which we've just collaborated with, which is a group that focuses on pregnancy and infant loss up to 1 year old. They now meet virtually, but are looking to start a Rutland charter. So we will be collaborating with them so that they can utilize our space. Whew, I did it in 15 minutes. I don't know if I even have time for questions.
Time for questions.
Okay.
Wait for the mic, please.
I was just curious, you mentioned 0 to preschool for ages, but are all kid ages available for parents that need classes?
Yes, so that is just our childcare sites. We serve 0 to 18 in all of our programming and actually make special exceptions for individuals who are caring for disabled children up to the age of 25.
I can take it, thank you. Hi there, I'm just wondering, you spoke to Cultural Curiosity, and I'm wondering if you have a current partnership or interested in ones such as the NAACP and our Pride Center?
Yes, I would love to connect. We don't currently have a partnership with, but I would love to expand and bring that into the agency. All right, thank you so much.
Perfect. Thank you, Krista. So I became aware during Krista's presentation that unfortunately a couple of our committee folks will not be here today. But I think we're going to go ahead and move into committee report out. So if we want to move to the map on the next slide. There we go. See, we're getting even better at this, guys. All right, so we're going to move into committee breakouts. Unfortunately, Commander Prouty is not here for community policing, but community policing will be meeting over here to my left. Volunteer committee will be meeting over here to my right. Unfortunately, Eric Pulver is not here today for the Training and Education Committee. Do we have the other training education person here today? Do not think we do. All right. All right, so if we want to go ahead. Health Committee is on over here. Jamie is here. Thank you, Jamie. Sorry, I got that email mid Carissa's presentation. I'm like, who's here? Who's not here? All right, but if we want to break out according to the map, we're going to take, let's say, another 15 minutes, and then we will reconvene for a positive and uplifting story before we move out into networking. Oh, yes, and youth will meet out there, but unfortunately, Heather and Sarah from Partners for Prevention are not here today, but Catherine is here. So thank you for your patience with me, guys. Sorry about that. Let's go ahead and move into those committee report outs, and we will reconvene in about 15 minutes. So much. I'm going to steal you all back in because I need someone to talk into the microphone. I mean, I can do it if you guys like my voice that much. Perfect. Perfect. Because you know me, I'll just start calling on people. So, perfect. I've got one to slightly start with. What is the subject of yours? Is it National Night Out or no? Okay, perfect, because that one's mine. So, all right, and it looks like we are all back together. Thank you guys so much. We're running a little late today, which is amazing because that means the conversations have been great. So I hate to cut it short, but I want to make sure everybody gets back to work on time. So we're going to go ahead and talk about our positive or uplifting story. I would love to go first. We had National Night Out here in Rutland earlier this week. It was amazing. I have heard that it was the biggest national night out that Rutland City has ever had, turnout-wise, vendors-wise. Exactly. It actually expanded into the street on Meadow Street with a Touch-a-Truck event. It was just an absolutely great turnout. So I want to say a special shout out to Rutland Recreation, Rutland City PD, and all of the other community partners who worked hard to make that happen. That is the kind of events that we need in Rutland, and I cannot wait to see more. So thank you guys, and I will take suggestions and hands. I know of one positive and uplifting story. Love
There's
it.
so many today. That's great. I just wanted to share that we're concluding World Breast and Chest Feeding Week. We concluded yesterday. We did a walk from Depot Park up to the Rutland Free Library. We had lots of participants and the ability for parents and families to find support and community. We were able to have raffles, and it was overall a really great time celebrating Breast and Chest Feeding Week. So thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, any other hands?
Well, I want to shout out to Rutland Housing Authority. As of Tuesday, I was able to get one of our members who was inadvertently homeless by way of an eviction. And they came through. We did apply a couple months ago, but it was like the manna from heaven came down and just said, "Oh no, we're here for you." And we got an apartment for her for the first time in her adult life. At 58 years old, she's never lived alone. And now she's on her own and so very excited. So we thank the community for that.
Thank you. That is an amazing story. Do we have any others? We got one up here in the front. I feel like there might be someone in the back who was eating, or no? Perfect. Perfect.
I don't know if it's actually an amazing, uplifting story like these guys, ones that you guys had, but starting this Thursday, the last Thursday of the month, last Thursday of the month at the Methodist Church, myself with Pathways, Brock, and Bradford Psychiatric Association are going to be there for 2 hours so that we can mingle with the public and let people know what their resources are. So I think we just a lot of people in there for breakfast, and I think it's going to be very impactful.
Amazing. Last call for any stories? And then on that note, I guess we will conclude for the day. Thank you guys so much. I love it when we run late because that means that we're doing great work. There is still leftover pizza. Please take some on your way out. And I just want to close out with a shout out to Domino's Pizza because the cameras were not rolling when I said it earlier. There has been now a consistent 8 months of donations from Domino's Pizza for lunch for our service providers and partners and people here at our daytime meetings. So thank you again to the team over at Domino's for their consistent donations. They are just wonderful people. Have a great day, guys.